Now, what have you always dreamed about doing when that old 9 to 5 daily grind goes by the wayside and you finally get the chance to create a new life for yourself? Today, we meet a couple who knew just what they wanted to do.
Retirement brought Jim and Gail Steed to a mountaintop outside of Blairsville, Georgia. Here, the Steeds designed their new house and called on a builder to bring their dream home to life.
I said, Gary, I need a big basement. I need a basement without posts. Gary says, well, I'm sorry, I can't build a house in a basement without posts. And I said, well, let's see if we can do it with as minimal as possible. He said, why? I said, well, we're going to build a train room down there. We're going to have a railroad. And sure enough, Gary gave me 3 posts, and there we are.
Today, Jim's dream home houses his dream layout, the second largest O-gauge layout in the Peach State, a terrific 1950s era model of the Great Georgia Central and Southern Railroad Company.
The size of the layout is 36 sheets of plywood. That's 1,100 square feet. We have a 2,000 square foot room, and that gives me lots of aisle space. 36 sheets of plywood is probably, we think, the second largest layout in the state of Georgia. On the layout, you've got about 1,000 feet of track, that's 1/5 of a mile, 25 locomotives, 400 buildings and structures, over 1,000 people and 1,000 automobiles.
This stellar layout also has 155 railroad cars, 50 switches, 7 main rail lines, and 4 streetcar lines. A layout of this size is rarely the work of one individual. Jim has the perfect collaborator in his wife, Gail, who's always finding new ways to create and enhance the scenery.
I think the first thing we did together was start the Snow Village. We started off with a one-dimensional mountain because we wanted to save real estate space. I wanted to reproduce what it looks like on a Christmas day. We had a lot of stone and brick left over from our home when we built it, and so I created a 3 by 4 foot rock quarry, of which he then added some mountain lions and some creative characters down there.
And the Hellgate Bridge goes over one end of the quarry.
Jim's love of trains goes back to his boyhood, growing up 150 feet from the main railroad line on Atlanta's northeast side.
The big Georgia Railroad mainline freights would come by in the afternoon, go into Augusta with a long string of freight cars. And I remember the glasses in Mom's china cabinet rattling. I'll always remember that sound. My dad was a trucker. He never had a train as a boy, and I think he wanted a train for me. So right after World War II, we went downtown to King Hardware, and we parked right on Peachtree Street. Atlanta was only about 250,000 population then, if you can believe that. You could park right on the street. We went into King Hardware, and we came out, and I remember carrying out a box of trains. I put it in the trunk of the car, we brought it home, and we set it up, and we ran it that Saturday afternoon. And the railroad is dedicated to my father, Frank Steed, because he was my best friend, and he taught me how to build things, how to do electricity, and I'll always be grateful for those things that he taught me to do.
Frank Steed's influence is reflected in his son's layout and has helped Jim and Gail develop quite a knack for modifying and recycling what other folks might be tempted to throw away.
When my granddaughter was born in the hospital, they gave her 3 infant formula bottles that Jim brought home, painted them silver, put them in a carrier, and now they become a gas tank. Another item, we take table legs from Home Depot, turn those items upside down, paint them, and they become smokestacks for an industrial size building. Take a little bit of cotton, swish it around in charcoal or your fireplace soot, and put that on top of the smokestack, and it becomes the smoke. Another item we had was a breathalyzer, which became a silo, a gasoline silo, when Jim brought it home and painted it. So we've recycled a lot of humorous things that have become serious on the layout.
After a decade of building, expanding, and perfecting their layout, a curious visitor might pause to ask Jim and Gail just when they expect to put the final touches on their creation.
This railroad will never be finished because you keep adding things every week, every day, and that's the fun and joy of it. I've loved railroading from day one. I love the engines, the smell, the grease, the sound. I love everything about it.
He's always adding things. People, cars, buildings, thought processes, ideas.